Okay, good morning. I really appreciate you dropping by. This is the Network Breakfast. My name is Tom Basie. I'm going to introduce our participants today, and we're going to, after that, we're going to give the floor to Shalom Plotkin of Right at Home. So right now, we're going to introduce ourselves, and we're going to start with Jeff. Good morning, Jeff.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jeff Hexter. I feel like we're contestants on the Hollywood Squares or something.
Sure. This is right.
Jeff Hexter, always keep computing. I work with the home and the small office user who is stuck with their technology questions and have tried asking other people and haven't gotten the help they needed. If you know someone who's frustrated with their technology, I'd love an opportunity to see if I can help them. Jeff Hexter, always keep computing. We pull out our hair so you don't have to.
Excellent. Thank you, Jeff. Thanks for stopping by. We appreciate you being here. And because I'm the next one on the cell here, good morning. My name is Tom Basie, and I'm an IT professional. I can help you with your computers here in Northeast Ohio. I guess I make it down to Akron and areas down there, but I can help you with anything that has to do with a computer. You can email me. I'll give you the email down in the comments, and certainly you can comment on that, and please subscribe to our channel. We really we like doing this each Tuesday morning, and you'll get a kick out of watching us. Thank you very much, Tom Basie, an IT professional. And now we're going to say good morning to Chris Walters.
Good morning, Chris Walters, see-through windows. I provide vinyl replacement windows, glass block, and exterior doors. I cover from Port Clinton to the Pennsylvania border, Cleveland to Canton. We do install. We will also sell windows if you would like to just buy windows. We're available at 24 hours notice, and we're installing within 3 weeks. So we're looking in right now in late July, early August. 330-604-0403.
Excellent. Thank you, Chris. And it's wonderful to hear how well you're doing. It's just, it's heartwarming. Okay, we're going to move on to our master photographer and bon vivant and all-around good guy. That would be Scott Morrison. Good morning, Scott.
My name is Scott Morrison. My company's Discovery Photo. I'm a full-time, full-service photographer. Have been for almost 30 years now, believe it or not. I started when I was 4 years old. We do everything from legal, corporate, industrial, architectural, a lot of business headshots, modeling portfolios, and on the weekends we crash parties, weddings, bar mitzvahs, anniversaries, whatever you may have. I'm the official photographer of the Beechwood Buzz, the City of Beechwood, and also the Beechwood Chamber. So I would love to be your official photographer too. Scott Morrison, Discovery Photo, when image counts.
Hey, Scott, you said you started when you were 4?
I did.
Did they actually have the flash powder and?
No, we had a little dinosaur in the box.
Right.
That you know from
Flintstones. They drew the picture.
Terrific. Everybody had to stand still for 4 seconds. The first images he took.
Yeah. Right.
Okay. Thank you, Scott. Thanks for dropping by. Okay.
No problem.
Next on our hit parade is Marty. Good morning, Marty, in front of your sold sign.
Yes.
Look at that. Sold for sale, sure.
Good morning, future buyers and sellers. I can help you buy or sell your home in case you need to upsize, downsize. Also, there's been a lot of interest in new construction because the inventory is so low and the interest rates are so low that people are actually building houses. So I can help you with any of that if you'd like to do that. Please give me a call at 216-544-4164. Thank you and have a great day.
Excellent. Thank you, Marty. Thanks for coming in. And now we'd like to say good morning to Lee.
Good morning, everybody. Lee Jackson. I'm not Shalom, but I'm still with Right at Home. We provide non-medical home care services to help people age in place, keep people home, safe, give them companionship, help them out, whatever they need to help them be the quality that they can best be. Lee Jackson, Right at Home.
Well done, Lee. Thank you so much. Good morning, Harry.
Good morning.
There it is.
Well, I try to mute in case you don't want to hear my dog in the background. So,
Thank you, Harry.
Harry Bernstein, I'm an attorney. I focus on working with families who have kids and young adults with disabilities, set out a plan for long-term success. We look at educational needs, medical needs, financial needs, and general life and vocational planning needs. I always tell people, no matter what you think is going on, if you think it might be a legal issue, give me a call. I went to school with 200 other lawyers and have been in the legal community for over 30 years now, so I can probably find someone who can help you. I also work with a company called Verde Compliance Partners. We are consulting to the cannabis industry regarding federal regulation, potential taxation, and legalization. We believe that it's going to be legalized in the next 2 to 3 years, or 2 to 5 years, based upon the public acceptance of the product. 70% of adults approve of the use of cannabis, and that doesn't mean they're going to use it, but they see no need to treat it differently than alcohol or tobacco. It would estimate revenue of $80 billion a year to the federal government if legalized, and 500,000 new jobs if legalized. So we see the potential out there to help create revenue and jobs and see how people can comply with the oncoming federal legalization.
Excellent. Thank you, Harry. And we hope to hear from you in the next few weeks. You could bring us up to date.
Yeah, I can, it'll either be next week or the week after, because I'm doing one tomorrow as a test run. So,
Sure. That's great. Thank you, Harry. That's wonderful.
so put me down for next week. I'll be able to, next week's fine. I got nothing else on the calendar.
Excellent. And are you going to?
I'll give you a title.
All right. That's great. Thank you. Okay. And a wonderful friend of ours, Griff. We're so glad you're here, Griff. Let's hear what's happening in your portion of the world.
Well, I'm Griff King with South Dollar Bank. I'm in the Treasury Management Group, which is the group that handles the online banking investments. We help improve your cash flow. And I've been at this almost as long as Scott's been in photography. And I too was 4 when I started in banking. Griff King, Dollar Bank.
Excellent. Thank you, Griff. Thanks for dropping in too. It's great to see you. Okay.
Great to see you. Long time.
At this point, we're going to turn the floor over to Shalom, and I can start whenever he gives the word. I'll start the full screen presentation. He may want to have some words. So, okay, you got to turn your mic on though. Thank you. Okay. There it is.
Good morning, friends.
Good morning, Shalom.
We're going to look at the first slide. So we're going to ask Tom to share the screen. And I'll start by saying this. The Supreme Court is always debating, is solitary confinement cruel and unusual punishment? The United Nations considers it to be torture. So you want to put up the first slide, Tom? Why? Because that kind of isolation is permanently damaging to our psychosis, to our brain, to our mental outlook. In fact, if somebody gets thrown in the hole, as people often do when they're first coming into prison and they don't know the rules, so they're being punished like that, it's just a breeding ground for all kinds of troubles. Now, what happens, for example, if you subject a significant portion of our seniors to social isolation? After all, we're social creatures. We're humans. We're designed to be together, and we're learning what happens right now. In fact, just today, AMA, this is the doctors of our country, said being in person in school outweighs the risks of social isolation because we know what that will do to our children. You got to go back to school in the fall. So that was pretty interesting to see if the pediatricians come up with that. So this picture that we have here, this is just an example of normal human behavior. Let's give each other a hug. How can we help each other out? Let's listen and care. And frankly, anything that we can do to be together, or in my line of work, we call it engagement, is going to help reduce stress, improve sleep, improve appetite. I mean, people eat more when they're together. And I'll go on in just a minute. So let's go to the next slide, please, Tom. The lockdown, as Chris mentioned, is going to be continuing through into July, at least in Ohio. Some of the assisted livings have started to open, and we'll see, for example, some families getting together maybe on the porch in good weather. So we're going to look at restoring a sense of order and purpose. What do we do while we're still stuck in this position that we've put ourselves in? How can we help to survive mentally? How can we come out of this hole? Elderly in isolation are typically retirees, and their days and weeks are ordered around regular activities and appointments, like coffee dates, medical checkups, regular visits from the family. Majority of the population practices social distancing now, and businesses are closed, which means my coffee shop, where it might be I would meet for the network breakfast, is closed. And seniors might feel distraught. The sense of time and purpose and order can be lost. We're thrown completely out of our routine. So how do we fight this? Well, let's schedule events, create routine, make it where it didn't happen before. For example, if I know that I'm always going to get a call from my daughter 10 o'clock in the morning, just to make sure, hey mom, it's your son here. It's your rise and shine call. How are things going? And just to begin a conversation there, even if we can't be with them physically. Let's find a project, for example, to focus on. Organizing old photos, recording their stories, preparing the garden, right? Lots of opportunities maybe to start to learn a new skill. You can teach old dogs new tricks, right? Maybe I'm going to relearn the nursery rhyme or the lullaby that my grandparents, taught me when I was young, and I can teach that to my grandkids. Wouldn't that be fun? Create shared projects. Like, can we make the same puzzle, only this time, can we do it in 1 day instead of in 2 days? Or can we do some perhaps adult coloring, which tends to be, artistic, which lets some of the creative juices flow and actually makes us, stimulates us and makes us happier. Also, we can ask seniors for their help by having them walk younger family members through a recipe, or listen to the spelling words on the list. Some of us who are parents might get tired of hearing the same practicing, for example, on the piano, but here's a new audience, a new set of ears, and lots of encouragement. So any kinds of new projects are going to be helpful, as long as it's something that they're interested in, that they're choosing for themselves. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so I'm going to pause here to get a little bit of interaction amongst our group, because there's more than a dozen of us, half a dozen of us on the call. What would be something that you can do for yourself during this time that might be new or engaging, which is helping to relieve the social isolation, besides getting together on Zoom, as difficult and unusual as this is, becoming our new normal? What's something else that we can do to relieve our own social isolation?
Well, Shalom, I can tell you, as the Boy Scouts, we finally got approval from the city, but we're meeting out at the park, maintaining social distancing, bringing masks when the kids need to work on something together. And it's worked fine because the weather is to the situation where you can do that. There's no reason at this point we can't, again, weather permitting, you can't get together outside. Every morning I walk before, all week, but before this meeting at 6:45 with a couple of people in the at-risk population in their 70s. And we maintain, I won't say it's 6 feet, it might be 4.5 feet. But we're all comfortable with it, and we maintain, and we're outside, and nobody's spitting on the ground or any of that stuff either. So getting together in places where you can space out. And I don't mean mentally.
Anybody else want to share something? So just to respond to Harry, it's wonderful that the Boy Scouts can also help to maybe meet new kids in the troop or pack or in the group now, because when the winter months come and it gets harder, you have some relationships to build on. And it's also just great for kids to get out in the fresh air. Also,
Right.
like you say, to stretch their legs. And when they start working together on projects, you know, maybe we can start a project now, knowing that we're going to have to perhaps one day continue it inside, or, you know, when we're apart. It's easier to keep it going versus to
Right.
get it started for the first time.
Absolutely.
So what are some ways that we can, as adults, stay connected to one another? Helping seniors stay connected is essential. A home care provider can help relieve isolation by taking the time to listen, having a personal conversation. Or we can also help our clients, for example, learn to use the iPad so now that they can be connected to their kids. That's actually something that it takes a lot of time, a lot of patience. And some of the staff in the facilities are able to find the time for it, but others, it's just too frustrating. But given enough opportunity, even somebody who's stuck in the hospital in isolation can now converse to some degree with their family, as long as they're not intubated. Adults can stay connected by video chat. We can also play games together. There's, I learned a new game called Azul, A-Z-U-L, means blue. And it's kind of like a checkers or like a Connect 4 game a little bit, with moving the tiles. But that's been fun. And it's played online. Cooking together. We're doing other activities on video chat. Kind of like, you know, like doing the home and garden show, but now you're a participant as well. Participating in religious services. I've been doing this each week, and slowly, hopefully, the churches and houses of worship and synagogues, hopefully they'll start mosques. They'll start getting back into the swing of things, perhaps in a different way. Some of the synagogues in the area are opening to half capacity, and then they're just splitting the services in half. You know, you're in the first half of the alphabet, you'll worship first, and then the second half will worship second. Different strategies. There's a local minister who's been having people in the church tune in on the radio at a certain time on the dial, and there's other folks who will come in the parking lot. They can actually see him, you know, delivering his homily, preaching, and still participate, even though it's basically almost like a drive-through religious experience. But you can see the people are waving to each other out the windows. And they also organized a food bank delivery like that as well. Attending virtual concerts. Lots of performers now have basically moved completely online. Instead of being shut, they need an outlet for their creative juices. To be happy, they have to play. And so now that some of them are actually having bigger audiences and bigger performances than they did when they were selling out, you know, venues and stadiums. Texting regularly and writing letters back and forth. Yes, we can still send the snail mail. And that's all just ways to stay in touch.
You know, it's interesting. A lot of things you're doing, this is great, and I've seen similarities. So, for example, the city of Aurora, nobody's doing fireworks. They're not packing people in together. But what they're doing Friday night is they're going to do a drive-in movie at the high school parking lot. You had to make reservations. They can space out the cars. Again, space out. But you can bring your own food. They'll have the porta potties. You know, nobody's allowed in the building. They're going to show Toy Story 3, I think, on one of those big inflatable screens. Just a way to, as you say, get people together. And then Michael Simon, I don't know if you guys heard that, he did it for Father's Day, and there's nobody facing more challenges than the restaurant industry. What he's selling is dinner kits, either a burger kit or ribs, and he did a live Zoom where he and his dad prepared the burgers. Now, having 1,000 people on a Zoom wasn't practical live, so now he's doing a recording. But again, he's making those adjustments and keeping people involved. So It's being creative.
Yeah. So I'd like to jump in here too. So one of the things that my daughter's done, going back to what Shalom was talking about, was writing letters or emails or texting. She's actually created an international global pen pal program for the ability to connect Jewish people across the world. And it's of all ages. So she's got many senior citizen pen pals that she's placed in I think her list is up to like 40 different countries now, and 500 different people connected in different ways to write pen pals. And they have the choice. They can write letters, they can send emails, but it's not age discriminating at all. And there are a lot of 75-year-olds and 70-year-olds and 80-year-olds that are participating, as well as teenagers and all the way through the age group. So connecting and giving them a way of having an outlet and socializing and learning.
That's wonderful. And hopefully some of them will be able to stay friends even across the distance for years to come.
That's the idea.
So I just want to share that looks like Jeff put in a text that Brandon David Hawkins, so a friend of ours from this group, is now putting on virtual concerts and virtual events as well. So that's just an example of a performer who's continuing to stay in touch with his audience. So we're going to go to the next slide, please, Tom. Encouraging healthy activity could be something like, let's go for a walk together. Maybe we could walk with our masks on, or share the sidewalk. Eating nutritious foods, exercising. I mean, we can encourage this from a distance. I know when my caregivers come over, one of the first things we're doing after we go through the COVID protocols, answering all the questions, taking our temperature and that, we usually start with laundry and cooking because those tasks take a little longer. But once the house starts to smell like maybe like chocolate chips in the oven, and maybe there's a roast coming out, so you start to get hungry just from the smell of it. And then if you have something to sit and share, someone to share a meal with, you're going to maybe linger a little longer and maybe take a few extra bites. This act of socialization also helps to raise up our immunity. So if we're isolated, we're actually more at risk of catching a virus or getting sick. So the mental health and the physical health are connected inseparably. For many older people, a little encouragement and a little assistance goes in a long ways. Sure, Dad, I understand. Of course you already took your pills. I know you took them. But now we have a few more, because just because we took them yesterday, now we have to take them again today. Send videos of gentle stretches or maybe complete stretches together. Just as long as we stay safe. I guess one of our biggest challenges is falls. And sometimes when we're just isolated by ourselves, so it's easier to lose your sense of, we call it equilibrium. And then when your balance is off, you might be more susceptible, for example, to not just tripping, but sometimes also just like sliding or, how did you get to the floor? I don't know. I don't remember, but now that I'm down here, I can't get back up again. So when we do stretches and exercises and movement, it's going to help us with our range of motion, a little bit of stamina as well, and we'll be certainly less susceptible to the falls. Healthy recipes, meal ideas, brain healthy exercises, like a word find. We put out a magazine I write at home, and usually the word search is the first thing that people flip over to, because it's just kind of fun. It's not hard, and then you feel accomplished once you've gotten them all. Create and send care package. I love this. In fact, we were just helping one of our clients. She's in her 90s, and she's been blessed with 50 great grandkids. Well, grandchildren and great grandchildren. She had 6 children of her own, and they all have birthdays. So there's not a month that goes by. Almost every week, it seems, although it's not exactly evenly spaced. But there are some weeks when there could be 2 or 3 birthdays in a week. So it's just fun. You know, what would so-and-so like? You know, how old is so-and-so? And so we have a little spreadsheet for her to help to keep track. And everybody in the family is just amazed. You know, they call her Granny. Wow, look what she sent to us. Sometimes she does a little bit of handwork, and it just goes over. So, and sometimes she'll do like a little collage. So like pasting down, and she'll cut pictures out. So they're always sending her pictures. We'll print out the pictures, and then now she has all kinds of pictures she can paste together to make the cards. She also doesn't neglect anniversaries, so she's got a whole little craft project just ready every day to jump right into. Something else that seniors might look forward to would be packages, like for example a magazine subscription, or we have a sight impaired client, and he gets tapes that come from the Sight Center. It's basically like a library, and so now he can have a new set of books. And we have the all we have to do is, as long as it's recharged, off he goes with that. Online lecture programs. There's a series. Maybe not as much new TV right now, but there's always the oldies. I have another client. He will never look at a movie that he hasn't seen before. He says there's just so much vulgarity. He's also a little bit, religious, and he just loves going back maybe to some of the spaghetti westerns, and there's somebody who's always, getting ready to, wrestle those doggies, and he just gets into it. So that would be fun. And in fact, the more often we show the same movies, the better he is. And then we talk about him, because it's almost like he's seen it again for the first time. So the familiarity is comforting. Some other things that we can do, for example, just little gifts in amongst each other, even from a distance. It releases the endorphins in the brain. The dopamine receptors, you have to have them going. It's kind of like the pleasure center, and social interaction is going to fire those signals, and that will help to keep the synapses fresh, and to help to, it's the same pleasure center you might get stimulated when there's like a tasty food, or some physical intimacy or something like that. It's going to help us. And even if you can't have those hugs, there's other ways to stimulate those centers in our brain. So we're going to go to the next slide. By the way, is your mood feeling brighter now that we're together on our Hollywood Squares Zoom chat? Do you feel good that we're together, that we're seeing each other's faces and interacting? Do you feel that a little bit? That's a little bit of those same centers. So these are pictures of some of my caregivers doing exactly what we're talking about. So you can see they're together. Typically, it's the same caregiver in the same family's house. This is the only family they're going to oftentimes. And they're like in a little pod. I could have put pictures in here, which were newer, with them wearing face masks, but you get the idea. It's cooking together. It's going on an outing. It's having tea. It's just sitting. It's conversing, interacting. All of that is what we call engagement. And it's building those relationships. And in our business, we have continued to stay active. I have a caregiver who's been with her same client every morning and every evening for 5 years running now. And sometimes he fights with her like he did with his wife. She should rest in peace. She's just a little longer, and a little younger, but they've had a lovely relationship, and even when they're bickering together, they're happy, and that's fun. And sometimes they'll do the hard things together too. There's one stretch in particular which helps him keep limber. But they work it out, and he actually has not been falling. So we're happy with that. So do you want to flip to the video, Tom? I think
Yes.
we're towards unless somebody else wants to comment. Happy to take any comments or questions, and we'll jump on the video, and maybe I'll get my Scott, my professional photographer friend, to give us comments on how this little video turns out.
Okay, here goes.
Hi, I'm Shalom from Right at Home. Sometimes people ask me, how do we make the magic happen? So we're going to take a moment to look under the hood. The phone rang. It was about 4 a.m. and our caregiver said, I just found out my car, it's not ready. It should have been picked up from the shop. I was getting ready for my shift. I don't know if I can go. And I talked with her a little while, and she really, really has just a deep bond for our client. And I said, I'll tell you what, come and pick you up. And I went, and I got her, and we had a really nice conversation. And it turns out she was actually bringing her a little treat. So that's really sweet. And I had a chance to bring her to our client. She got there on time. And for our client, this is really important. This is the continuity of care. It's helping her to stay safe in her home where she loves to live. And their plan for the day was to have an outing. And I'm just thrilled. She got there and she said to me, you know, Shalom, this makes a big difference for me. Because somebody else would have just said, okay, you're not going to get there. You're calling off. It's a black mark on your record. And I might have even lost that day with my client. And instead, I called her afterwards. They had a great day together. And I'm just so thrilled that she felt like, wow, I'm family. I can call. I know somebody's going to be there, even in the middle of the night, to answer my call. And you know what? It's going to happen. Because for us, our caregivers are really part of our family, and our clients are too. When we bring them together, that's when the magic happens. That's a quick glimpse under the hood of what's going on at Right at Home. Thank you for your business. Thank you. What do you think, Scott?
I thought it was really, really well done. Looks good. You look very believable, and you had good eye contact with the screen. I thought it was great. I really did. It was a good message.
Thank you.
It was very well done.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tom.
Who did it for you?
So I had that done by a professional videographer, actually, in Omaha. So our franchise comes from, it was started in Omaha about 20 years ago. And so when we used to come together in person. This past year we did it remotely, but we would come together. That was done with no practice. There was no takes, no whatever, no script, no whatever. It was just they said to the different owners, tell a brief story, and that was mine.
No. Now I'm even more impressed.
Mm-hmm, me too. Excellent.
Yeah, it was very good.
Thank you.
So here's Shalom's contact information for those of you that like to get to know him better, or maybe you could use his team and himself to help a loved one that may need some attention. As you're watching this, you say, you know what, I'd like to get to know them better. This is, of course, Right at Home in Beechwood. And you'll see that this is the office. You're seeing the actual office. It was taken from Google. And there's Shalom's email address and the open 24 hours office phone, and the website rightathome.net/Cleveland. And you'll get to them, and you could see what they're all about. But you've heard from Shalom today. Excellent job. Wonderful presentation, Shalom. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you. Scott's clapping. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're all clapping.
Yep.
Tom, this was a really lovely deck of slides and with the video. Wow. So thank you so much for putting it together. It looks beautiful.
Sure.
In fact, I hope to use this presentation again next week. So we're going to present it at a, there's a group of activity directors that are working together with a group of assisted living managers. So with your permission, I'll use this one again.
Absolutely. You can have this. Absolutely. It's yours.
Thank you.
Okay.
Shalom, are you covering more than just the Cleveland area?
So I'm part of a franchise. We have 400 offices in this country, and we're working about another half a dozen, maybe 8 or 10 other countries as well. But in general, I'm the owner of the offices on the east side. So mine are in Beechwood and Highland Heights. Highland Heights is more of a virtual office at this point. The Beechwood, we're having our staff rotate through, so they're not there at the same time. But it has to stay. We have to have a physical presence just to continue to hand out like the face masks and the gloves, and we call it PPE. We have training sessions, but yeah. So the other offices in this market, which is considered Northeast Ohio, are there's one just south of Akron in Canton, also Medina, which also goes up to Summit County. We have 2 on the west side, also in Westlake, and also Middleburg Heights, kind of the south west. So 6 offices in this region at the moment. We're hoping though that we have, and I don't know if it's going to happen, but I had somebody call me a couple months ago, and they were very interested in hopefully opening one on the north side of Akron. So that would help us to fill in a kind of a large empty territory.
Excellent. Okay, just to tie up with some loose ends here, and Shalom would like to thank you for your kind attention, and that would be, thank you from Shalom Plotkin, the owner of Right at Home, and he thanks you, and we thank him for a wonderful
presentation. Thank you, Shalom. That was very good.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Thank you.
Yeah, very well done.
Yes.
A good overview and important information.
Okay. And now, okay. Yes, thank you, Shalom. We're all back to Hollywood Squares, and Shalom is the center square, so he always gets the action. Who was the center square on Hollywood Squares? The funny guy?
All in.
All in.
All in. Man, was he hilarious. He thought like instantly and just wonderful. Anyway, okay, so thanks so much for watching. We're going to wrap up this, and our members will stay here for another minute or so. But don't forget to subscribe to our channel, comment below, and all our contact information will be below also. So thank you very much. Thanks for your kind attention. Shalom thanks you doubly, and we all thank you. And we'll see you again next Tuesday, and our members will welcome all together again. Thanks.
We'll look forward to Harry's presentation.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for reminding. Next week, Harry will be presenting the business of CBD.
Well, I think what we're going to talk about is the path to federal legalization. My partners and I, we actually had the paper published in one of the industry magazines comparing the repeal of prohibition of alcohol in 1933 to what's going on right now. So why we think it could happen relatively quickly. I mean, if somebody had said 2 years ago that the feds are going to look at legalizing it, I think nobody would have believed it. But
so you're going to get out of it?
That's the teaser.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks. And it works too. And we'll see you next Tuesday. Thanks so much from the Network Breakfast. I'm Tom Basie. We'll see you again.